Hey everybody, welcome to another lesson of learning Japanese. Today we are going to cover a pretty short topic, but it's a very important topic, and what we're going to do is we are going to talk about the various conjugations of the word des. So the word des that concludes almost all of the example sentences that we've had so far is a construct that we've pretty much ignored for the most part until now, but in fact it is very important and it has many nuances such as tense. It affects the sentences in such ways, and it has just as many conjugations as any regular verb does. So we're going to go and cover that right now. So just an example of how important des is in a sentence, if we were to say something along the lines of I am sad, and we can see here that des is very important because depending on the way that you conjugate it, this could either mean I am sad, I was sad, I am not sad, I was not sad, etc. The des is doing all of this, so it is very important, and now we're going to cover the conjugations that it goes through to either mean past or present or negative past, etc. So first up, what we're going to do is we're going to cover the polite section of these conjugations. And basically this is what you're going to use when you're trying to be polite or more formal. And first up for this section is literally just the conjugation of des as des. This is the polite version of the affirmative non-past. So in the present affirmative sentences, this is what you're going to use when you're trying to be polite. It's going to be des. Next up we have affirmative past. So if this is a positive sentence, an affirmative sentence, but it's in the past and it's polite, you're going to change des into deshita. So de, sh, and ta. And you can see how this resembles the verb conjugations because the polite past tense of verbs is going to be something along the lines of the verb mashita. We can see here that deshita has those same last two characters, the shi and the ta. So deshita is the affirmative past tense of des in its polite form. Next up we have the negative non-past. So this is basically just the negative version of des in the present tense. That is going to be janai des, or it's going to be de wa arimasen for a more politer or more formal. And last up for the polite section we have the negative past. So this is going to be in the past tense but in a negative sentence, and it's going to be either ja na katta des or de wa arimasen deshita for more politeness or more formality. So those are the polite versions of the conjugations of des. We covered the present tense, we covered the negative present, we covered the past, and we covered the negative past. And altogether that covers a pretty wide range of sentences that you might be using. Now we'll move into the plain form and offer a more casual way to say each of those four sections. So for the affirmative non-past, basically just in the present in an affirmative sentence, instead of des we use da, just one character, da. Next up for the affirmative past, we're simply going to change da into datta. So datta is just going to be something in the past, but it's still going to be an affirmative sentence. It's going to be the da, small su, ta, datta. Now for the negative non-past, we're simply just going to use janai. And we can see here that janai was also used in the polite form, but it was followed by des after it. This time we're just dropping the des because that's polite, and now it's going to be more casual, more plain, just janai. And lastly we have the negative past, and this is just going to be janakatta. Here we can see how it's basically just janai, and we take out the final e in janai and replace that with katta, and that's actually a really well used conjugation. We're going to see that later on with e adjectives as well. So there we go. Those are the conjugations of the word des in various forms, whether they be polite or plain. So since the word des is most commonly used just right after the very straightforward utterance of a noun, let's add all these different versions of des after a noun to see how they change the aspect of that noun. So basically let's use the base sentence of watashi wa inu. We'll add the different versions of des right after that to see how it changes what the sentence is saying. And we'll go in the same order that I analyzed them just now. And first up we have watashi wa inu desu. So that just means I am a dog. We can see how this is the present tense. I am a dog in the present tense. Next up we have watashi wa inu deshita. And this is I was a dog, but polite still. But you don't really get an idea of how politeness changes the sentence when I'm just saying I am a dog. Next up we have the negative non-past polite. We have watashi wa inu janai desu, or watashi wa inu de wa arimasen. And this just means I am not a dog. I'm not a dog in the present time. I am not a dog. Next up is the negative past in the polite. So we have watashi wa inu janakatta desu, or watashi wa inu de wa arimasen deshita. I was not a dog. Next up we have the plain form, which doesn't really change the meaning of the sentence relative to their polite counterparts. It just changes the politeness or the casualness of the sentence. So watashi wa inu da is just I am a dog still in the present time. It's just more casual. Next we have the affirmative past in the plain, which is watashi wa inu datta, and it still just means I was a dog. And next we have the negative non-past in the plain, watashi wa inu janai. This is just I am not a dog, again, same as watashi wa inu janai desu. And lastly, we have the negative past in the plain form, so watashi wa inu janakatta. And that's basically the same thing as watashi wa inu janakatta desu. The meaning's the same, it's just more casual, more plain. So there we go, those are the conjugations of desu. We can see how important that final part of the sentence is because it can literally change the tense of the sentence. And yeah, if you were a dog at some point in the past, doesn't necessarily mean you're a dog now, so we can see how the meaning changes. And this is going to be important when we use des with not adjectives later on for not adjective conjugations and so on. So keep this in mind. It's going to be important to reference back to in future videos. So yeah.